Okay. Hey guys, this is the second episode of PETROL LLAMA. Today I have my dear friend Pash on the show. Last week we had someone that was a friend of mine from middle school and high school, and this time we have someone who's been friends with me for less than a year.
Yes.
Pash, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. Will you tell everyone how we know each other without using company names?
Well, I worked with a friend of yours, and that friend of mine left the company and recommended that I get in contact with you because you had just joined, I think.
Yeah.
So I shot you a note within our internal communications, and we had a little coffee break, and you cracked me up for 45 minutes. And after that meeting, I think I kind of, harassed you. It was like, that was awesome. Let's hang out again. I want to chat. You're so funny. And I think that's how it started.
Honestly, I get so much social anxiety when I'm one-on-one with a person that I don't know.
Of course.
I don't have all of these things in my back pocket to be like, oh, how's the wife? How's the kids? Blah, blah, blah. And so I was so nervous before that coffee. I'm like, oh God, what if I can't keep conversation? What if?
I mean, you were on a roll, if I remember correctly. I just sat there and I was like, yeah, that's hilarious.
No, it's amazing. Someone was asking me who I'm interviewing this week, and I was like, oh, this is my love coach.
Here I am, man. Everyone needs a love coach.
Yeah. Everyone needs a love coach. As you know, new coworkers do. In our first conversation, I told you that I randomly went up to a guy at a bar I thought was cute and gave him my number. And
I remember.
You lost your mind. I swear to God, Pash jumps out of his chair and starts storm walking, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm never going to do this again. And then he sat down and he was like, we need more of this.
Yeah.
Why do we need more of this?
Well, honestly, I was excited to hear. I was excited to hear about someone taking a chance on a relationship. I was excited to hear about someone, specifically a woman, taking control over that type of exchange, which in society is can be really weird and awkward. And I thought it was a courageous thing to do. Two, I thought you'd probably be really successful with that approach. And it was just exciting to hear about people taking a chance on themselves. I've been married for years. I've been with my wife for a really long time. So I'm out of that game, but I just love to watch over the fence and see how players are doing.
Spoiler alert, he never called.
Spoiler alert, his loss.
But I will say that Pash gave me a homework assignment, and it was, I had to give my number to every man I saw in public that I thought was attractive. And so for those of you who live in the Bay Area, I happened to be on the BART and I saw someone attractive, which is real coincidence.
I mean, the BART is where dreams come true.
We found love in a hopeless place. So I ended up giving my number to this guy on BART, and he happened to be really good friends with a lot of my friends. And we dated for a little bit, and over quarantine, he came to LA and stayed with me for a few weeks. And I still love him to death. He's now one of my closest guy friends. So I think long story short, your advice did work. Now But now
I know.
Well, you're married with kids, so
Sure. Like I won once. You know what I mean? like
over and over every day.
Yeah. But like concerning what we were talking about, my larger point was try, see what happens, but also try in a way that keeps you, specifically you as the person, in control. You know what we had talked about, just like the dating scene in our society, as we know, is just like so weighted in the patriarchy that it's just like laughable and disgusting. And any opportunity in which women can take control and maintain control, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And in this specific instance, in relationship to you and what you were talking about, you getting out there and being courageous and making connections, I just wanted to root you on. I thought it was really exciting. And so it was all out of love and support. And thankfully it worked out.
Yeah, I would definitely say it worked out. I'm definitely a big believer in like a relationship does not have to last forever to be great, and to get something positive from it and all of those things. I mean, I don't know how long have you and your wife been married?
That's a great question. What year are we in?
This podcast.
What year are we in? We're in 2011. 10 years? 10 years.
That would be 10, yeah.
10 years. Yeah.
Damn.
But we've been together for 17.
Shut up.
Oh, maybe more than that. A while.
Oh, yeah. A long time.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
We met in college. We met freshman year in college. And the story goes, I played soccer. We were actually both soccer players, but it was during tryouts for the team, and it was after one of the practices, and I was walking through the the gym. I was walking through the gym, and she was coming the other direction, and she gave me the biggest smile I have ever received from any woman in my whole life. And I just remembered it. I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, this is after practice, so like I'm not thinking about anything aside from where's the ice and I'd like some Gatorade. And then fast forward 2-3 months later, I saw her at a party. We went to a small liberal arts school on the East Coast, and I saw her at a party, and I remembered that smile, and I knew one of her friends, and I motioned to her friend, and I said, whomever that person is, I need to talk to her immediately. And I kid you not, I've followed my life around ever since. Yeah,
my God.
It worked out.
Incredible. How many people and animals are living in your home right now?
Oh, that I know of. We have 2 wonderful children. So we have a 7-year-old daughter. Her name is Amel, and a 2.5-year-old son, Mayfield. No pets, though I love dogs.
Yeah.
The rest of my family is kind of hit or miss on them. But yeah, that's it. Cool. I've personally had pets in my lifetime, but
oh my God, brag about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I need to make that uppercase B a lowercase b because I had a fish in college.
That does not count unless you can hold it. It doesn't count.
It was alive. I had to take care of it, and that's it.
What do you do for a fish? You feed it like once a week?
Whoa! You change the water. You make sure the pH levels are right. Oh, I changed it every week. You may have had to do it more frequently than that because it was in a small, kind of glass container. I didn't have a fancy, this is college. I didn't have a fancy fish tank or anything. So I had a fish. I had a hamster. We had a hamster at one point. Didn't last that long. Or maybe it was a guinea pig. They all seem the same to me.
What was the fish's
Um,
name?
Blue.
Wow, how creative.
Oh my. Oh, I mean, yes. I could have.
You could have tried just a little.
What's hilarious that I think the fish was actually like purple, but I called it blue. I
Okay.
don't know. I mean, the college, the choices we make. You
I love that the name of your fish is the choice you regret from college.
know?
I wish we could switch.
Oh goodness.
What was the name of the hamster?
Peanut butter.
Okay, did you have
It was
kids?
a guinea pig.
Did
It
you
was a guinea
have
pig.
kids when you had him?
No. This was when I was in elementary school.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, I think it there's like a lot of years of my life that I just completely forget. I think it was a gift from someone, and the animal existed in our house for a couple of weeks and then very quickly passed away because we were not hamster people. And I think I fed it alfalfa every single day. And I think alfalfa is one of those treats that you're supposed to give a hamster like once a year or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, that wasn't. I mean, the hamster went out like with treats. So
Went
I
out
think
like a champion.
there are worse ways. But yeah, gosh, I haven't thought about that in such a long time.
I grew up in a household where we had all kinds of pets, and I'm talking like we had a baby alligator at one point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did one get a baby alligator?
You know, I'm sure some deep, deep special place in Texas. Yeah,
Oh, I love it. Noted.
yeah.
What was the alligator's name?
I don't remember. He did not last long because he got out and my mom got up in the middle of the night to get some water and he was in the middle of the kitchen and hissed at her and then the alligator
Oh, hold on.
was gone.
You just stated that there was an alligator in the middle of the kitchen as if there was a sock on the floor and it was a natural occurrence in the household. There was an alligator in the kitchen.
Yeah, so we had this like weird atrium thing in the middle of our house. So he was supposed to chill there, but
Mhm.
somehow he got out of said atrium and he was in the middle of the kitchen floor. And I mean, the way that my mom tells this story is like it literally took her 2 steps to get from the kitchen to on top of the couch.
We
And
call
then
that flying. Yeah.
it was so crazy. Like it just went away after that.
Yeah, oh, I believe it. I believe it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, we had like a ton of fish, dogs, cats. Oh, and so my dad worked on a farm when we were little,
Mhm.
and one of the baby calves was sick, and so they brought it home and it was in our backyard for a while. And so my brother and I did something stupid, and my mom was like, "You guys are grounded till the cows come home." And then pulled the blinds to show that there was a cow in the back. And then her and my dad proceeded to laugh for 45 minutes straight.
I mean, what I took from that story is you weren't grounded.
Exactly. Loving that for us. Yeah.
That's where you get your humor from. I dig it.
Yeah. I definitely get my humor from my parents.
Uh,
Ooh, yeah. So 2020 is over, which is tight. And
uh-huh.
2021 is trying to play catch up already.
Uh-huh.
What would you say is the best thing that happened because of 2020 versus looking at the bad parts?
That's a wonderful question. It's actually it's one I think about often. Um, and I think there were a lot of things because I'm one of those people who thinks that there are two sides to everything. So with the extreme climate turmoil, social turmoil, political turmoil, economic turmoil, there is also a resetting of what is important. You know, as corny as that may sound, I think there are a few times in which the world is suffering from the same thing at the same time. You know, this was, if we're talking about COVID specifically, it was a global pandemic, which forced, for the most part, the whole world to change their lifestyle, address things accordingly. And in that, there is a collective experience that only few times we've had that. A few times in my lifetime we've had that, you know,
Yeah.
aside from world wars or larger things. And because of that collective experience, I feel like it forced people to really reassess their let me be specific. Those with means, those with time, those of us who, and I think it's an important caveat, those of us who have the ability to reflect and reassess, it really forced us to do that. And granted, I'm sure plenty of people, even those without means, reassessed and really thought about like what position they were in and how they were being affected by the world around them. But for me, being at home, working from home, having the children at home was really, really challenging, but also really special. And every day I had to remind myself that like I am being terribly inconvenienced by this, but I'm not suffering.
Yeah.
And there were plenty of people who were suffering. I was not suffering. You
That's
know, it
super.
was annoying, but I was not suffering.
What's the wildest thing your kids have done while you've been working?
While I was working,
Yeah.
um, I guess it depends on one your definition of wild. Because like I've had Amel like, you know, working at my feet or like throw things, like start a yelling fit during a call, and it's just kind of like, oh, like this is my life, you know. Like you kind of have to.
What are you gonna do?
Um,
Fire me?
yeah, exactly. Send me home. I'm already there. But I will say they are. Uh, kids are kids are adaptable, and kids are built for survival. And I think very quickly they understood the new situation that all of us were experiencing. You know, they weren't going to school, they weren't seeing friends, they were at home, and they understood that my wife and I, we have to work. They understood, Mel understood that she had Zoom class, and there was just a gained respect and just new behavior, which is incredible. And I'm grateful for that. And I can't assume that happened across the board for all people or all families, but our children definitely adapted to the craziness
That's
that
it's
last
interesting to think about too that like I always saw my parents go to work, but I never saw them work,
Sure,
you
sure.
know? And I feel like that would be a huge difference in seeing that, right? Like, you know, especially the actual physicality of going to and from work and leaving work at work and
Yep.
that kind of thing. Like seeing your parents get annoyed with coworkers, I think would be an interesting dynamic to witness as a young little guy.
It's I think you're exactly right. I've been asked really insightful questions by Mel, um, you know, about like what I do, or why'd you look like that in that meeting, or what were you talking about? And it's really interesting because there have been times where I explain something to her and she says, well, Dad, like that doesn't make sense. And I go, you're right. Like you're exactly right. Like I actually need to think about that, you know. Well, why'd you do it that way? Like that seems like so I've really appreciated their perspectives. I mean, Mayfield's 2.5, so his perspectives are like in a very small realm. I
Yeah.
need that, Dad. I don't need that. Now he's getting into arguing, which is great.
Oh,
Um,
cute.
you know, it's always good to work on communication. But yeah, it is. I'm really grateful for the time we've had together, as challenging as it has been, because I've got to see them grow up,
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
over this past year. And to your point, but prior to that, I'm out in the morning, right? Everyone kind of goes in their to their designated area. End of the day, we all come back, we eat a bit, you know, we say hi, we crack jokes, and then we sleep
Yeah.
4 hours. So it's been nice to be present.
When you're teaching your kids how to communicate, what are like some of the things that you make sure and hone in on?
Um, clarity. I'm actually, I am fine with emotion. I think emotion is really important. In fact, I have learned to work with my emotion and be more emotion forward. So, what we really try to model for them is clarity of communication. If you're frustrated, like you can cry, or you can say, I'm frustrated about this thing that you've done, and see where it takes you. And what it's created in our daughter is someone who is very, very clear about her emotions, and also very, very clear when we have transgressed. And it happens frequently. And there's nothing funnier, more endearing, and also more truthful than when a 7-year-old is like, Daddy, you said I could have some ice cream in 5 minutes, and it's been exactly 6 minutes, and you lied. So it would be great if you could get me some ice cream, or do you want to be a liar for the rest of the day? Um, she makes a point. She makes a point. Like,
Dang.
it's a factual statement.
And so do you typically get the ice cream at that point?
Yeah.
You want to be a liar for the rest of the day.
No, I usually get the ice cream. Like, yeah, the uh, children are fantastic negotiators. They are fantastic negotiators. So, yeah, I bet there's ice cream in her room under her bed right now. I don't know.
Under her bed?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Mainly because it melts, but other than that,
You think we're worrying about melting ice cream in this house? I have children. Like,
I'm
you
like,
think that's my biggest problem? Melting ice cream? Please, please.
that's wasted ice cream though.
I mean,
I
that
love
too.
I love it. Um, ice cream is my vice right now. What's yours?
Uh, so is vice something that's like, can you define vice?
Sure. So it's just kind of what you use to handle situations. It doesn't have to be like inherently negative or legal or only if you want it to be.
um, no, seriously. Well, ginger ale has always been my vice.
Really? What about it?
Yeah, so sensational. Um, I just like it. Like I don't drink it often, but if Pash is celebrating, he's having ginger ale. Um, other vices.
It's interesting because since I've gotten sober, I always drink sparkling drinks,
Mm,
like sparkling water,
yeah.
flavored sparkling water. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what it is. I guess it is just like the experience, if you will, for lack of a better term.
Sure. The mouthfeel, like, well, it's also as someone who doesn't drink alcohol, like, there's I kept asking my wife, like, so why do people drink all this like sparkling water, right? All the brands out there. It's like, what is about that? I'm
Yeah.
always like, it tastes so sour. Like, there's no sugar in this. And she's like, I know, that's the whole point. She's like, yeah, but like for those of us who drink alcohol or beer, like there's a relationship. I was like, oh, huh. Um, but I'm not what's my point, Pash? My point is like, I like ginger ale. It's sweet and it has bubbles. I guess that's my vice.
Okay.
I've picked up other pastimes though,
Such as
such as gardening.
cute.
Yeah, huge,
Are you doing that right now?
huge. As in right now, no.
Well,
As in, as in this week. Oh yeah, like every day we do a garden walk. So we walk around our house and look at our plants. And I've been no exaggeration, I've been to the garden store more than any other place during shelter in place,
Same.
maybe aside from the grocery store.
I go to Home Depot for my plants because they're cheap.
Yeah.
But I've been there more than any other place. My therapist recommended every time I'm sad to buy a plant. So I have a lot of plants.
Yeah, I haven't told my therapist about my gardening yet, but that's definitely going to be on our list.
Keep something for yourself. She takes everything.
Yeah, but good for you. So you're into plants too.
Yeah, I love plants.
It's awesome. Do you have space to garden or just indoor plants?
Well, we do have space to garden outside as well, but right now I just have indoor buddies.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a.
Are you growing any like food or just like plants?
Well, if you really want to know.
Yeah, I know.
We're lucky enough to be one of those Bay Area people who have some yard space. And I say some because it's not it's not a lot, but it's definitely more than others. And we live in what they call a duet, which is kind of like a townhouse, but like in where we are in the East Bay, like there are homes that are attached to the garage. That's to say that we have a little backyard and we have like a little front yard driveway and kind of a side courtyard. And this gives you insight into the type of people we are. We have designated each garden section to have a theme. So the backyard are native plants and native habitat friendly plants. Cool. So as I'm looking right now, you have native sages, you have native buckwheat, you have yarrow, you have rosemary, not necessarily native, but a good habitat plant. You have Mexican marigolds, you have currants, you have tree ferns, plants basically to attract wildlife.
Okay.
Side yard is called Pasha's Paradise Garden, which has lavender, African daisies, some more sage. Well, 4 types of lavender. I'm a lavender person.
Whoa,
Sage.
he's a lavender boy.
I'm a lavender person.
Do you call them blue?
What was that?
Do you call them blue?
Not yet, but there's time for that. And
Hey,
then
let me pause you really quick. Just because my podcast recording thing only does 30 minutes at a time.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're great.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
I moved because Connery's in the other room. I didn't want to pick up her status call.
Hi, Connery. Okay, I have some selfish questions.
Please.
How would you describe me to someone who doesn't know me?
That's a great question. How would I describe you to someone?
It should not be this hard.
Relax. No. It actually because like I'm actually trying to think of the right metaphor. Because when I met you, again, it was via the recommendation of a coworker, your friend, and in the spirit of like, hey, like make connections, build your network. And I love people. I love making connections. So I went into it with like, hey, let's just see what this woman is about. And I was floored meeting you because it's like, it's one thing to be funny, but it's also a completely different thing to just be like alive and full of energy. So I guess I'd say electric. Yeah.
Add that to my resume.
There you go. Capital E.
A coworker said it, so it counts. Let's see. Just thinking about it though, do you want to know how I would describe you?
Sure.
Deeply intellectual and personable. And you are one of the best people I know about checking in and seeing how people are doing, even if like the crazy part is like we never worked together.
Correct.
Like not on one project. There's no reason for us to stay connected, keep up with each other, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And I just remember like in the middle of the pandemic, I was doing poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And you called to check on me, and I just started bawling.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate your friendship so much because there's very few dudes in my life who can just take me completely bawling.
Sure.
And there's something about me that feels responsible to always show up as the funny one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't feel that way with you.
Good. Good. Well, why do you? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
So, why do you think? Why do you think the the friendships you have can't take you bawling? Why do you think they can't deal with that emotion?
Um, I think it's because I show it so rarely that they are caught off guard.
Sure.
My guy friends have seen me go through some shit, but I think previously in my life I've been like, I'm fine, fuck him, like blah blah blah, when
Yeah.
inside I'm like, oh my god, my heart hurts.
Sure.
But I will say that's not true for all of my guy friends. One of my friends, Zach, I went through this really terrible breakup, and he was like, I was supposed to go to dinner with him and his wife, but she had to work, and he's like, all right, let's go. And I just like cried the entire dinner, to the point where everyone around us thought he was breaking up with me at the dinner.
Oh goodness. Yeah.
So I
Interesting.
don't know. Some can handle it. Why are you so good with it? What made you good with it?
Because I cry a lot myself. Because I I'm someone whom for a long time was distant of my emotions. You know, um, I was born in West Africa. I grew up in New England in suburban Massachusetts. My father is an author, a minister, and a professor. My mom is a force, so there were just all these factors in me which definitely framed containment and order and discipline, and being emotional truthfully really wasn't one as a child. And as I've gotten older, and I think as I've had children, I've understood how really important it is to be in tune with everything you are. And therapy helped a lot. And therapy changed my life. So I think I um I understand. I understand life is hard. I understand that there are things out of our control that can drown us and can put us in dark places. And I think in our friendship, I also understand that there's like duality and complexity in everyone. So you can have like really traumatic and difficult things that you've experienced or that you're going through, but you can also be like really, really funny and have a lot of energy and have connection.
Yeah.
And
I honestly
I
feel like most people who are really funny had to be at some point in their life.
hmm hmm. So they had to be funny, or they had to have gone through something.
They like they just got to a point where they went through something so big that they had to laugh about it. And like that was their coping mechanism of like, okay, clearly I'm not in control.
Yeah.
Um, like how is this even real? And I think I definitely used it as a defense mechanism,
Sure.
a coping mechanism, all of those things. But yeah, I find most comedians have some like very, very interesting backstories.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think um, humor, as you know, has many levels.
Mhm.
Has many levels, you know, and when I talk about being hilarious in relationship to you, I'm actually not even referring to like jokes. I'm actually referring to um, delivery and like your witty perspective on things. And when I say the word hilarious, it's not. Uh, I find it like enjoyable. Do you know what I mean? like not a show, but more over just like a way of being, which I find hilarious because it's uplifting and funny and positive. And I know that it comes from a place, as you've outlined, that like is charged by a lot of things. But like this is life. This is actually what this is about.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like comedy saved my ass. I
Mhm.
think I was at a point where I was in a very, very suicidal place.
Mhm.
And it was the first thing that I tried that was able to jolt me out of that.
Sure.
Even if it was just for the minutes I was on stage or just for the minute that, I was in a new group of people and I was cracking people up. It was, I don't know, it's the first time I felt like I had unique value.
Interesting. And how wonderful that you found that.
Yeah.
How wonderful you found that. Because I'd argue there are a lot of us who are still trying to search for that unique value.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a kid with the talent that could be showcased at a talent show.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
I'm not a talent show kind of person. Like you got to meet her.
Well, it's funny. I was a kid who grew up with talents that actually I tried to hide.
Really? Why?
Yeah. Uh oh gosh. Because at the time I didn't want to be classified as that person who did that thing. So I played a lot of sports. Soccer was the sport I played the most. Soccer was the sport that I played arguably the best. Um and was awarded and respected in the soccer circles for my talents. But funny enough, I actually tried to quit soccer in high school
Yeah.
because I didn't want to be, frankly, the like black athlete. I wanted to be an academic. I wanted to be an artist. I love music. There are all these other things that I wanted to identify myself as. But we learn really quickly that our passions are our passions, our skills are our skills, and there's nothing wrong for being known for something that we can do well or that we can give and share with others. And if only we figured out those things sooner,
Yeah.
and embraced them.
Where is that in the children's bookstore? Like, I'm so confused.
Well, it's funny when as someone with children, I'm very aware of this topic that we're talking about, and my kids, to the point where we really encourage them to just do it all. My daughter has way more confidence than I ever will. Um, and that confidence also can come across as arrogance and can come across as being a know-it-all. and she's only 7, but I'd rather have a 7-year-old girl who thinks she can do and know everything versus a 7-year-old girl who doesn't want to be known for anything.
Yep. I think
So,
especially like a woman, that's incredible.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I think
mm-hmm.
I think my parents tried to make me feel that way, but for some reason I just never thought I had it. I never thought I was good enough. I was worth my difficulty.
Worth your degree of difficulty. Oh my goodness. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Y'all, this is
Yeah.
double black diamond.
You're gonna need 2 pairs of skis for this one.
Snowboarding.
Yeah. Yeah. It is you know, as a parent, like you try and you go, oh, good luck. And who she is, who both our children are, and what they do, we can only take a very, very small amount of credit from that, if anything at all, because they are their own people. Yes, we feed them, yes, we keep them safe and all that jazz, but like she's got to kind of do her thing. So as long as she's doing it without like running around with knives, then like for now I'm like, cool. Granted, she's 7. Ask me this question, let's talk in like 4 years, or 5 years when things change.
How much has she changed over this past year? Just a year?
A lot. As we all have, frankly.
Yeah.
Regardless if we want to believe it or not. But in fact, this morning, she had a Zoom gym class. So like I think every Wednesday at 10:20, 10 or 15 or so kids jump onto the Zoom class, and they're taught by, a PE teacher in the school district, and they jump around and they play games. And I was looking at her and I started to get emotional. And because on one hand, I felt so sad that look at what this time has reduced everything to. And yet, a huge sense of pride and appreciation for her ability to adapt and to go to gym Zoom class and for it to feel normal enough to keep going through with it.
Yeah.
So all that's to say, like, grown a lot, like this, she's supposed to be in school. All kids are supposed to be in school, and they're not really. They're supposed to be with their peers, and they're not. And she gets up with a smile and a positive attitude, and she endures. And it's been hard, and there are a lot of tears, but she's grown a lot, and I'm really grateful for that.
Aw, I love that. Okay, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we're already nearing time. And I like to end by asking everyone the same questions.
Great.
Okay, what are 3 things that you're grateful for right now?
This conversation, my family, and music.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, everyone, Pash is amazing at putting together playlists. So I'll make
very kind.
and include his Spotify information so you guys can start to follow them. But
all are welcome.
Yeah,
all are welcome.
They have gotten me through quarantine for sure. Okay. What's the best advice you've ever been given?
That children are built for survival.
Who gave you that advice?
My buddy Mike Moran, who I'm a dear friend of mine. I unfortunately don't see him enough, but before our first child was born, as one does. I was really nervous and I was concerned. I was like, I've never had a kid. I don't know what this is about. And he said, relax, man. Children are built for survival. And what he meant, or what I took that to mean, was that for the most part, we have a desire to live.
Mm-hmm.
And as corny as that sounds, when a child comes out, it is defenseless. And yes, there are situations in which that child suffers diseases, and yes, that exists in the world. But also, for the rest, like they want to open their eyes and they want to be able to walk and they want to be able to eat and they want to be able to jump off of things and not die. And I just took it to mean do what you need to do, but understand that your child is also committed to their survival as well.
God, I love that. Really good advice. When is the last time you shit your pants? You have to answer.
Like literally or like in joking?
No,
Literally.
yeah.
Fourth grade.
No, you haven't done it as an adult?
No.
Oh my God,
No.
grow up, live a little.
I clearly my life is not nearly as exciting or dangerous or fear-inducing.
What happened in fourth grade?
Fourth grade. Here's a story to end on. Fourth grade, I got a stomach bug in the middle of the night. And in the house we were living in, all of our rooms were on the same floor. And I came out of my bedroom and there was like a little landing at the end of the steps in between all the rooms. And I couldn't make it to the bathroom. And my stomach was just like, was in knots. So in the middle of the night, I start like yelling out to my parents, like, help, my stomach's hurting. And my brother, who's 2 years younger than I am, whom I love dearly, opened up his door and just looked at me. And I think just like laughed. And as I'm like yelling out to my parents, like, help, my stomach is hurting, I relieved myself on the floor, all over my legs. To which I think my brother just looked at me, shook his head, and closed the door, went back into his room. And my parents had to pick me off. And like, this is fourth grade, so I'm not a child. Like, I'm a big enough young kid. And my dad had to wash me off in the bathroom. I remember this like yesterday. And to this day, my brother will be like, hey, Pash, remember when you were begging for help and crapped on yourself? I do. And yeah, that
That's
was that.
the wildest thing about families is like the family you grew up with basically still has it in your head that you're that person.
You're exactly right.
And so they're like, they bring up stuff and you're like, okay, I actually clean my room now. So it's like weird that you guys
Exactly.
keep bringing it up.
Exactly. I have a lot. And when you have siblings, they are definitely uh holders of the archive.
Ugh, my whole family is like that. It's like when we get around them, they're like, do you remember the time? I'm like, yeah, I fucking am trying to forget it. But you guys keep bringing it up.
Correct. Correct. I wouldn't if you wouldn't talk about it every time we were at dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's never like, oh, do you remember that time where you were so sweet and successful?
Of course, it's never the positive stuff. Yeah. Remember when you were awesome there? Yeah, I'm waiting for that conversation. Yeah. What are 3 things that you're proud or grateful for?
Right now, I am super grateful for my sobriety.
So am I.
Yeah. I am really grateful to be living this close to the beach. Um, there's just something really powerful about standing next to such a big body of water and feeling so small. And like, I think I just constantly need to be reminded that like nobody cares. Nobody
Hmm.
cares what I do. Nobody cares if I fuck up a ton. No one cares. Everyone's so focused on themselves and their own concerns and worries that
Hmm.
what am I so worried about?
Sure. I think it's a great question to ask ourselves on a
Um,
regular basis.
and I'm super grateful for this podcast because it's just like forcing me to sit down and have the conversations I already want to have.
Hmm.
But
That's awesome.
I can become such a recluse sometimes. Like if my depression starts to kick in or anxiety or whatever, I can just isolate like nobody's business.
Sure.
Even though I know the thing that's going to help me is
It's the
to
exact
reach
opposite.
out.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
But in the
Well,
moment, I'm like, I don't know, guys. Great British Bake Off could just watch 10 episodes of that.
I mean, it's a good show.
Solid.
Like it's a good show. So I'm with you there. But I'm
But
happy to hear that.
you can't watch it while you're on a diet. Just pro tip.
I believe that. I believe that. Thankfully, I'm not on a diet. So, but I believe that makes sense.
Okay. What is one thing most people don't know about you?
I'm terrified of heights.
Oh. Like, here's a question I have. For people who are terrified of heights, is
Hmm.
it literally any height or does it get to a certain height and then you're like, game over?
That's a great question. That is a great question. For me, there are quirks to it. The quirks are, for instance, when I fly, I need to sit by the window because I need to look out. I have to look out because I need to see the ground. I find flying unnatural, and I find flying an incredible feat of engineering and incredibly unnatural. um,
Yeah.
but so I need to look out the window. But for instance, like here's here's an answer. You remember the office that we worked in,
Yes.
and I sat on the 24th floor, I think, between 24 and but the building went up to I think 33 floors.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go to meetings above the 27th floor because I was terrified sitting in the meetings and being able to see out the window.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But it's such a weird quirk that in an airplane you actually did need to see it.
Yes, but I think that's about seeing the ground and also seeing, not feeling, it's probably claustrophobia to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I need to sit out. I need to see outside. But the malls, I mean, are those things anymore? But like the mall elevators, the glass elevators that like go up the 3 floors, terrify me.
What do you do? Like stand with your back
Uh-huh.
facing it? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you're smart. I I have a I have a fear of flying as well. I was on a flight once where the airbags dropped down and they told everyone to put the mask on and I was praying to every deity I'd ever heard of.
Yeah.
And from then on, I just got like this mad anxiety before flying.
Hmm.
So then I started doing this thing that no matter what time of day it was, I would just drink before the flight.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Out,
is a
that just makes you really dizzy while you're up and flying.
Oh, there's nothing worse than being on a plane and like wanting to get off. And I'm
Ugh.
someone I commuted between here and Oregon for almost a year. So almost every weekend I was on a flight. And so I'm used to it. But there have been a handful of times, one recently, where for whatever reason I was on a flight and wanted to get off. And it was hour 2 of a 6-hour flight. That's a hard
Oh,
time. That's a
that's
hard time.
the worst. I have that
Yeah,
feeling a lot, and it's just mainly like after a weekend trip.
sure.
just been long and like seeing people the entire time, and all I want is to get home. And I just realized how still far away I am.
What's something about you that people wouldn't know? You have a podcast now. Now is the time.
Okay, what is one thing about me most people don't know? Interesting. I guess I should have thought of responses for my own questions. I think most people don't know how sensitive I am. And
That surprises me.
how personal that I can tend to take things and feedback, or like I just like remembered things that people told me in high school.
Yep. I know the feeling. Yep.
And I think for most people I come off as like, haha, joking around, everything slides off my back. And I'll laugh in the moment. But then I'll go home and cry about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say, like, I'm a sensitive comic.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Okay, last question for you.
Wonderful.
Why am I single?
There are people out there whom are special. And one of the hard things about being special is that it can be one, foreign to a lot of people. It can also be hard to manage and hard to understand. And I think you being single is actually not a reflection of you at all. It's much more a reflection of the universe and of people not really being ready for the magic. But it's a matter of time if you so choose to not be single. It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
And
I think that's fair. I think this past year I had to be single.
Sure.
I think, getting sober is not a team sport.
Agreed.
You need other people.
You need fans, but you don't need other players.
Yeah. You need like experts. See how it's done and to ask questions and all of those kinds of things. But like, I was changing so much, and my view of myself was changing so much. It would have been impossible to play catch up with somebody else and constantly be like, oh, you know that thing I said a week ago? No longer.
Sure.
But I will say, I think relationship or not, it doesn't matter. I think I'm in a better place than I've ever been, because the first time in my life I can actually look in the mirror and be like, I really fucking like this person.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
How wonderful.
Yes, I am so grateful for that. It's like, it sounds so cheesy, but at the same time, that changed everything else around it. And saying no became easier. Drawing boundaries, saying yes, all of that, like just everything provided a lot more clarity.
Well, I commend you, because that's hard. It's really, really hard. And to be so insightful and honest with yourself about that journey, to ask yourself the questions you're asking yourself are fantastic. And as you already know, as you already know, uh, due to your frequent trips on the BART, um, you know, the universe is like, the universe listens. I believe in the universe.
Yeah.
The universe listens. And the work that you're doing right now is instrumental to the foundation of your future, regardless if that's with a partner or not. You
Yeah.
know, like partners are extremely convenient. That's true. But
I hope Connery's not listening to this.
she knows that. She knows that. But I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you and everything else that is ahead, because now that you're in this position, watch out. There's only forward from here.
These hoes better watch out.
Oh, goodness.
Pash, do you have any friends that you'd like to give a plug to that are making things, doing things that you're proud of?
Stephanie Foster. Check out her podcast, and whenever she does stand up via all the social media channels. Shout out to my people doing the real work in the streets.
Yep.
Shout out there to the parents who are enduring, and shout out to the single people who may be lonely and looking for connection.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, I'm rooting for everyone.
Yeah, I love that. Any last parting words before I let you go?
Thank you so much for thinking of me and for this conversation. As always, it's a real treat to connect with you and to laugh and to share my 2 cents. And, I'm always rooting for you because, as I said, you're hilarious. And who doesn't want Stephanie to win?
Now Stephanie wants Stephanie to win. So.
There you go. One Stephanie wants Stephanie to win. It's case closed.
Yeah. No, I so appreciate your support and your view on things. I feel immensely lucky that our friend Kendall connected us.
Yes. Thank you, Kendall. Shout out to Kendall.
Hey, dog. We love you. Okay.
Yes,
thanks for your time, Pash.
Thank you.
Bye.
All the best. Peace.